First is don't go back to like the bad habits of like getting into a bottle or other things you like drinking. Got to stay away from that. And every one of us at least has somebody that they can call, at least one person. And if you don't, call me, call you.
Mental health champions, we're in for a treat today. We're bringing on the author of Resilient, a story of group home survival. I had the chance to get to know Jeremy on Writing with Authors. We'll have that link in the show description for when we go live. But he's got a very inspirational story, and now he's continuing to find new passions and areas of success. We were catching up behind the scenes. So everyone, let's welcome Jeremy to A Mental Health Break. Thanks for coming on, Jeremy. We appreciate you coming on. Where are you streaming in from again?
Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C.
How is the weather now as we're recording this early May?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's starting to get hot now, so the heat's incoming.
Yeah, I mean, down here in Florida, it's the summer approaching, aka hurricane season, and maybe, in my opinion, our winter. So we're buckling up, but this show's not.
Where in Florida are you?
St. Petersburg, outside of Tampa.
Oh, dude, I'm going to be in Tampa next week for the SALT conference. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a beautiful time to be in Florida up until I think May is technically the start. But once June hits, you be careful if you want a vacation here. Just understand the heat's a real thing. And part of that is being overwhelmed with the heat is still taking care of our mental health. So I think we'll start right there in that arena. Jeremy, what are some things you do to take care of your mental health?
It's hard because I know internally I have a lot of rage problems and I don't have any patience. So combining those together can be a bad recipe. So I've really learned to meditate every day. I do use the Calm app. And I notice when I don't do at least 10 minutes of like straight up meditation every day, my brain shifts into more of an angry mode and it's not good.
Yeah, I can certainly resonate with me for that. It's exercise. If I don't have some kind of exercise in the morning after a few hours of being awake, I'm not thinking clearly. I'm definitely more stressed. My anxiety is definitely a little higher through the roof. And I appreciate you saying that. I always like to build the tool chest of our guests. What works for some will never and impossibly work for everyone. But another thing that does help my mental health is reading and writing. I mentioned we have an author here on Writing with Authors. He's got a story of group home survival. Walk us through the premise for someone who has not met you like myself.
But first, I also agree with you on the gym time. Like if you don't work out in the morning, that stresses me out too. Having that clear routine absolutely keeps that mental stress down. Yeah, so my background, I grew up in group homes in Southern California from the age of 4 until I joined the Navy at 18, then just moved on from there to support different military organizations, and that's what I still do today.
Did you think as a kid you were going to be an author one day?
Even when I was young, I really liked writing. I never thought I'd be an author, though. Like, it was very cathartic for me. And we were just talking about, like, that little creative bucket, right? So, like, that was always a creative bucket for me. But the publishing of it all, I can contribute to my wife. She was the one who said, you got to get this out there to help these kids and have your kids read your history.
Well, you better tap her on the back because the book came out amazing. Everyone, make sure you head to the description. We got the Writing with Authors there. And if you're watching us on live stream or the video, once it goes live and it's on my feed, I've got his link right here to go grab yourself a copy. When you're writing this book, who would you say your target is? I know you mentioned you grew up in group homes. Is it for kids in group homes? Is it for parents in group homes? Or walk us through who could help the best.
Yeah, that's a good question. And it changed as I was writing it and thinking about the people that helped me grow up. So it's really obviously it's for kids that have survived to know that there's a way out and that they should never give up. And there's a lot of strength in getting through such like horrible situations. But it's also really for the educators, the therapists, the folks that are actually in the day-to-day business, because it's a lot of emotional baggage that they got to take in and they got to be ready for that.
What would you say to a maybe kid listening on today who is having a tough time in his group home? What advice can you lend forward?
Yeah, I would say what you dealt with yesterday is more than what most kids will ever deal with in their entire life. And you getting past yesterday and into today should let you go into tomorrow.
I absolutely love that. And I got that here in the show notes, some advice for kids and homes. And you found a way to make it through the other side. Do you find that the military was a big part in shaping you? And
Yeah, the military saved me. I was going down a wrong path with different drugs and alcohol and with the wrong groups of people in Orange County. And I realized really quickly that I had to get out of there. I didn't know, though, how amazing being in the military would be. And doing intelligence, military intelligence was phenomenal. Met really, really great people. It was just, yeah, it was a platform to succeed and gave me the opportunities I have now today.
I absolutely love that. Well, thank you for your service and now for finding ways to continue. Right now, present day, you mentioned you're also doing some stuff as a new business owner, and I won't dive too much into business because this is not that entrepreneur show, but there is a lot of mental health associated with being overwhelmed with starting a business and a lot of things. Walk us through your experiences now as a new business owner and how that's been upstairs.
It actually just happened to me this morning. I almost lost it. Like we talk about like mental health. I actually almost lost it, and my wife had to hear me like complaining quite a bit because we have a new puppy in our house. But I'm also all day, right. But in all day, I have meetings all day. But then I'm also doing a lot of things to get this business started. Simple things like admin stuff, getting email accounts set up, working through different investments and talking to different capital investment funds, right? And then on top of that, I got to watch this dog all day long because my wife works on site somewhere. My daughter's in school and working too. And so it's just me with 2 adult dogs and a puppy. And I lost it this morning. I was like, I get it. You actually can't be a CEO and watch a baby puppy all day. So it hit me today on mental health.
I can understand with being pulled away and not being able to think clearly. And that's part of many challenges in entrepreneurship. And again, everyone, I won't touch too much on it, but do not become an entrepreneur if you're not okay with the roller coaster of ups and downs, because the ups are up and the downs can certainly be down. And you'll never see how fast money goes until you become an entrepreneur. But as far as mental health, he's got the great new book. He shared a little bit about his story. What are some personal or mental health goals you have for yourself now as we're heading into summer?
Yeah, I need to be a better husband is really my goal right now. I shouldn't be offloading some of the darkness that I have onto my wife, and I do. And I know that I'm doing it. And so that's my biggest goal this year, is to make sure that she doesn't get brought down into the darkness that I sit in sometimes, and try to make sure she's really an amazing human. She doesn't need to deal with that,
Entrepreneurship will bring the best and the worst out of you sometimes. So I can certainly understand her being an unintended recipient of some entrepreneurial endeavors. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure you're a great guy, so things will continue to move in the right direction for you. In the beginning of entrepreneurship, there's just so much to do with no time in the day and no experience to do it. So you're trying to just piece it all together, continuing to network. So that's truly, truly incredible that you got that off the ground. I look forward to seeing how it all comes together. But we had advice for kids in group homes, but maybe let's now ask for advice. And I like to ask this of each guest. For someone who's having a real tough time right now, a really bad day, bad week, bad month, what advice can you give them?
First is don't go back to like the bad habits of like getting into a bottle or other things. You like drinking, got to stay away from that. And every one of us at least has somebody that they can call, at least one person. And if you don't, call me, call you, right? Before you make a big mistake, and don't go down the bottle or start drinking too much or doing other things. Get a reality check from one of your close friends, the ones that will talk shit to you,
So you're saying a support system is important.
Yeah. And the ones that know you, especially the ones that know of what you've been through, they're always like my close friends. They're still from California. They give me grief all the time, and that's what I like.
It's important to have people that will tell you things that will help you improve and get better, not just what you want to hear all the time. So I can certainly resonate with you there. Do you think you're going to have a second book come out on this topic, or let's walk through that?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I don't know if I want to write past the group home foster care stage and into the military. I'm moving into fiction now. And so I'm writing a fiction book now.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's actually the main character is my background. He has a background of like being alone, abandoned in homes, but he has Native American descent and he joins the military as well. But his
Okay.
whole, he as he maneuvers through, he what his whole job becomes is finding terrorists that expose and hurt children and traffic them through the opium trade. And he ends up joining the FBI. And it's a good story. It's a really good outlet. And I think we were kind of talking about some of the stuff before with when it's writing fiction, you have to create dialogue with the different characters. And it's actually really easy to do. People say it's hard. And it's probably because we might be a little bit, loco in the cabeza.
Yeah, well, that's always fun to have new things to strive for, new goals, and stepping outside your comfort zone is very important because that'll be always the best way to grow. When you're out in Virginia now, so you are indoor exercising because of the winter?
Yeah, I've been spending years building out my home gym. It's awesome. I mean, I have a gym membership, but it's mostly like to do sauna and stuff like that. But yeah, it goes back to what you were saying. Like in the morning, get your workout in. I like to eliminate the time between getting to and from a gym. Walk down there, and I'm like 5 minutes, I'm in it.
That was the whole thing for me. My gym wasn't completely far, but it was about 15, 20 minutes each way, and that aggregates to the week, the month. That's a lot of wasted time as an entrepreneur where you could be doing other things.
Exactly.
I was never a bodybuilder or anything. The gym is nice, but I, like you, invested in some stuff for my house where I've got my stationary bike and the bench and the dumbbells, so I can do the bare minimum, and that's enough to just keep going. And again, I asked him that question because exercise looks different for everyone. It could be taking long walks. I take breaks throughout the day, walks right outside my sidewalk. You could be lifting weights in the gym, the sauna, all of these things, just things to take care of our mental health. Now, we talked a little bit about mental health with business, but mental health as a parent. What can you walk us through as raising kids, how the mental health challenges and the benefits with that?
I can honestly say that I've made a lot of mistakes as a dad. You don't realize at the time the things you say they remember. That's the hardest thing for the mental health side of being a parent is knowing that you're going to make those mistakes and continue to make those mistakes, but you got to forgive yourself.
I love that. Being able to forgive yourself is so important. No one's perfect. And unfortunately, we are human, so we will make a mistake or two along the way. How old are your kids?
I got adult kids pretty much. I got almost 21-year-old boy, 19-year-old boy, girl twins, an 18-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old girl.
All right, so you're out of the terrible twos and all that.
I got one kid left in the house, and then we're done. And it's funny. I always say, "Oh, I'm so glad they're going to leave," and my wife's like, "No, you're not." And like, I'm glad to have the peace, but I'm sad to have lost that forever. That's gone now.
Well, yeah, they're grown. I moved 1,000 miles away. I have family here in Florida, but from where my folks are in New York, so I could certainly resonate with that. Again, that goes back to having a good support system. We talked a lot of great things today: exercise, writing. I look forward to seeing when these next books come out because then we have to bring you back on writing with authors. What is something else about mental health that we would like for us to know about? Maybe some experiences that you had, some more lessons.
I would say that for me is the right spouse. I made a mistake once. I'm divorced from that. My wife now, having a partner that can bring you back to ground and keep you from really going nuts has been a life-saving thing for me. Without her, I don't even know, honestly, if I'd even be around.
Well, I'm glad that you have her in your life and you're continuing to move on the right path again and again. And again, everyone, having these different goals, we also talked about not just professional, but personal goals are extremely important. We can strive towards them each and every day. I find goal setting and organizing my schedule are things that lower my stress. Does that actually work for you as well?
Yeah, I've been time boxing. Have you heard of this?
Oh, every night. I think I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I time box on my calendar now. So it's crazy because I've actually removed people from seeing what I put on my calendar, so it just says busy. But I'm time boxing 5-10 minutes at a time as thoughts come through, and that's good for our mental health because we lose it, right? We're like, that's important, and then something else happens. And we're like, what were we talking about? And it was actually important. Right when it happens, I just make a little time box in my calendar, so I hit it.
And I love that. I recently put a post out on that where you're doing a time audit of yourself. When you actually block out, I do it before bed. I look at my calendar. I have my Calendly where no one can book like at least 18 hours or a day out. So I make my schedule. you finish your work so much quicker, or I would
Yep.
say you do. I, at least, and I read this in a book, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount, where your productivity actually increases when the time decreases, when you're time constrained. So I only have 30 minutes, and you can look at it like, okay, I'm going to do the laundry today. How often do you actually get that laundry done today?
Yeah.
Right? You don't. You have it just sits there and sits there. No, I'm going to be writing from 10 to 10:30. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be doing this from 11 to 11:45. I'm going to take my walk, whatever. Scheduling out. I hope that helps some people listening on. And I'm so glad you brought that up, so I'm not the only one, because it really was a free tool that is a game changer. Oftentimes people want to spend money on these hacks and these tips and these things, but I'm not the 100% perfect eater, but I know the value of starting my day with a banana and some fruit. I know the value of getting off the computer at least once an hour, because my eyes by now in the afternoon, they get drained. They hurt a little bit. Taking walks, having some sunlight hit me. Stressful days are never going to end, and I've learned that. There's just new stress, but we have to find ways that work for us to mitigate it. And for me, meditation, I'm on and off for Lent this year. Instead of just giving up candy, I also brought on meditation as much as I can for just little spurts, and I've been like that for a while, just trying to find new ways. Is there anything new that you've tried lately that is newish?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule. You're tracking that one?
Righto, yeah.
So like, and you're talking about working like hard within that 30-minute window. Like, I like to do most of my stuff in the morning.
Always.
But if I can get most of my work done in the morning, it's big boy rules in my company. So if you can get 80% of that done in 20% of the time, you can leave the rest of the day.
I absolutely love it. Again, I'm a little abnormal. I'm up by 3, at my desk by 4, and I get those solid hours in. And that's 6 days a week except Saturdays. I have no distractions, no calls, no emails, no texts in those early hours, and I get 6 hours of productive activities done before I really hop on a Zoom for podcast. Then I can think a little more clearly. I'm not here like thinking about 1,000 things. I got my work done, and that's just something I prioritize. Entrepreneurship has many sacrifices, but it also teaches you to leverage your strengths. I've always been an early bird. You may have heard me say this if you're an avid listener, but I've been asleep at the sleepovers first too, right? I was never a night bird. I could always, need a big nap if I'm going out at night. I'm always productive in the morning, so I try to leverage that. But I can't thank you enough, Jeremy, for coming on another show. Everyone, be sure to head. You see here on the bottom, he's got Amazon link here, but you could also probably type that into Amazon, Resilient Story Group Home Survival.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you pushing that out there too, man. I really hope it helps somebody.
Yeah, all good. As an author, it's hard. There's one thing to write the book, and a lot of people don't realize it's another to actually sell copies and market the book after that first week. So doing podcasts, everyone, guesting on a podcast and hosting a podcast is the best form of a business card. Besides a book you never knew you needed, we're able to connect halfway across the country and be promoting things. Now we're in each other's networks. You have a book, someone may want to become a client. They'll spend the $20 to buy a book, that low price point. You give them away at events. You build your network. You make a difference. And for him, I'm sure it's not about selling as many copies as getting this into the hands of foster kids and group homes and just so many kids who just need some help. So if you're listening on or viewing on, please make sure you pass this interview along to someone if you know them there. My name is Vincent A. Lancey. I'm encouraging you to head to Amazon and follow Jeremy on LinkedIn. This is a mental health break. Remember to subscribe and leave a rating so you're caught up for the next mental health advocate here next week on next Sunday. And with that, we're signing off today from Virginia all the way down to Florida. Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Till the next time.